Now, as the Senate grills the leaders of the big tech industry, the mother of former Silk Road founder and convicted felon is urging the president to commute her son's prison time after he received life sentences for nonviolent online offenses. Here's One America's Jack Posobiec with more.
We're here with Lynn Ulbricht. She is the mother of Ross Ulbricht, who was the founder, right? The founder of Silk Road, who was prosecuted and convicted, is currently serving 2 life sentences for his role in that. So tell me, first, what brings you to the social media hearings, and then if you could speak more broadly about what brings you to Washington in general.
Honestly, I came along with Charles Johnson, my friend, who said, hey, you want to go? And I thought, oh, that'll be interesting, because I was already in Washington and really just trying to network and meet people who can maybe help us convince the president that Ross's case is worth considering for a commutation.
Can you describe Ross's case for the audience?
Sure. So as a 26-year-old libertarian, on fire for freedom and free markets and privacy, and for cryptocurrency, which was very, very new then, Ross created a website, Silk Road, where people could buy and sell pretty much anything they wanted, although there were restrictions because it was based on the philosophy of voluntary interaction, no force. So, for instance, there was no child pornography allowed, there was no stolen property allowed, things that created victims. But it was basically he wanted to give people the experience of a free market. And so drugs were sold. Mostly, overwhelmingly, user amounts of marijuana. But there were other drugs sold. And so for his role, not for actually selling drugs, but for his role in the website, he was given 2 life sentences plus 40 years without parole. No violent charges whatsoever, no victims named. And that's his sentence, and it's a terribly barbaric sentence, and symptomatic of the excessive sentencing going on in our criminal justice system now. And so I'm, just hoping and praying that the president will see that this sentence was wrong, and it was very political as well.
So when you say political, what political, I guess, ideology or what politics played into this sentencing?
Mm-hmm. Well, the person behind the case and investigating the case was Senator Chuck Schumer. And I believe the reason he went after it so hard was because Bitcoin was the only means of exchange on the site. It was this upstart new currency that was, I think, got the attention of the financial powers. And he called for the takedown of Bitcoin, the takedown of Silk Road, and a few months before Ross's arrest, it's now been revealed that the NSA was tracking Bitcoin users, not terrorists, mind you, Bitcoin users, and so that this was of great concern. And I say political because the lead prosecutor was Preet Bharara, who was Chuck Schumer's special counsel for years and owed his job to Schumer, and the judge was Catherine Forrest, who was recommended by Schumer for her position on the bench. And Ross was brought from California, where he lived and was arrested, to Schumer's state for trial. And it just seems very cozy to me.
What would your message be for President Trump?
That Ross meant no harm, and he was young. He was a 26-year-old kid who was very idealistic and got into something or created something that got out of hand, got out of it, and the taxpayer does not need to be spending $2 million to keep society safe from Ross. He is very regretful. He has been nothing but a model prisoner, and he is very, very peaceful. There's 100 letters on our website by people who actually know Ross. If you read some of those letters, you think, what is he doing in here? And actually, people at the prison that work there ask me the same question. Why is Ross in here? He's just, and it's also would be a very good statement against this excessive sentencing. And also, it's like, he was really an innovator, and I'm not saying there's nothing that, I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong that he shouldn't have done. But at the same time, he's not a kingpin. He's not a violent person. It is not appropriate to give someone like him life plus 40 years. the mandatory minimum before they loaded on the kingpin charge, basically saying a website host is a kingpin, it was 10 years. You know, that 10 years is long, and then they upped it to 20, and even 20 years, it's very long, but it's not your whole life. And people change, they mature, and I just would hope and pray that President Trump will see that and that this was really egregious.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.